At 2:01, so we'll get underway here as people continue to file in. Welcome to yet another in our ongoing series relative to the impact of IT. We were very sorry we missed everybody in Chicago, but we look forward to seeing you in Orlando, February 14th through the 17th at the Coronado Springs Hotel. Registration just went out this week, so we're opened up and ready to rock. And if you watch this webinar and you want to go back and reference it again, we're recording it so that later on today or early tomorrow morning, we'll have this recording up on our website so that you can glean all the value from it that you possibly can. And we're very, very happy to have with us Tyler Hicks today from SDS2. Tyler will go through his product and he'll work on that for about 20-25 minutes. We will be monitoring the Q&A box, not the chat box, the Q&A box down in the middle of your screen. Be sure to ask any and all questions you have. And we intend to supply Tyler with the registration list along with any and all questions that are tendered so that he can get back with you guys one-on-one and answer all your questions about his wonderful product. He's been at many impact shows. He'll be at many more. And with that, Tyler, let me turn it over to you. Thank you very much for having us today.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me be a part of this. And for everyone sitting in here watching, thanks for spending your time. I'm going to go over a couple things here. Again, the idea behind this is how we can leverage technology for a more efficient site planning. I'm going to talk about a couple different items as we go through this and hopefully just generate some questions and get you guys some information about what people are doing nowadays and what is actually possible. Little house cleaning items. We are part of the NEMETSCHEK group. It's a large group over in Europe. They own 13, 14 different software companies. Some that you may know would be Bluebeam, ourselves, RISA, SIA. Some of those companies right there are big here in the U.S., so we are a part of this group. We look for tighter integration with all of our sister companies. This is our office. We're located in Lincoln, Nebraska. We've been doing this for about 39 years. Our flagship product is our SDS2 detailing software that a lot of detailers, fabricators, engineers are using. And we've been doing this since 1981. So why am I here today? Well, when we look through a project, all the different stakeholders in steel, we can kind of see what's going on. I'm sorry about that. Let me back that up there. About who all the different stakeholders are. And we know, like, from engineers to project managers, from project managers, detailers, fabricators, there is usually a 3D model passed along from one person to the next stage. Someone's reviewing it, someone's utilizing it, someone's pulling information from it. Well, our idea was to, create ways that this information doesn't stop at the fabricator. It can get down to the erectors as well. So what we're going to go through, one of the things we thought about was the steel delivery and job site execution. So we've got this model with all this information in it. How can we get that out and how can we make it easy for erectors to take advantage of? So we're going to cover today, our SDS2 3D module and the available tools that go along with it, our site planning, our load planning, and some partner integration. Some other people in the industry that do things better than we do, but we tie in with them because they've got their niche and they do a very good job at it. So we'll get to cover a handful of those. Again, kind of just focusing on steel delivery and job site execution. We're also going to get into, the benefits of the 3D model, how companies are already using SDS2 site planning to streamline their process, how to use the 3D model data for bid and early planning, how the model can be used before shipping to site, and again, like I said, our partner integrations. So why should you care about a 3D model? Well, schedules aren't getting, increased, drawings aren't getting better, and the lack of experience, whether it's a new person on the project or a new person to the company, there's always that chance that you might have someone that maybe be looking over something, doesn't have the experience that you're hoping to have. You also have, excuse me, multiple sources of information. Do you have the most current drawings? I mean, how many times have you been out in the field and you're looking through something and you're working off drawings that were issued 2 months ago and there's already, been 3 or 4 different new issues made, but you just don't have them there. So the model can take care of that. It is the source of truth. The fabricator's model contains the most accurate and up-to-date information, and the ability to take advantage of that can help you out downstream. The reason why it's the most accurate is because all the CNC data that goes through those fancy machines in the shop are coming from a 3D model. Your bolts, your quantities, weights and center of mass. Excuse me. Softwares like ours, we have that all in the model. We know the weight per foot, we know the K distance, we get down right to that 1/16 of an inch, so we can supply that information to those fancy CNC machines that do great jobs. So to go along with the visual, if you look at something, you see it. If it looks weird, it probably is. You can zoom in on it, take a look, investigate it further. To be able to see the steel is very important. Locating items. Instead of going through a stack looking for B101, I can type in B101 and it's going to take me right there to where it is in the model. If there's 3 or 4 or 5 of them, I can go ahead and cycle through those and see where they're all at. You've got bolt lists, bolt summaries, weekly erected tonnage, all that kind of information can be pulled from that, and you can use that in the model. Your work packages, and we'll get into this a little bit deeper about how some companies go through and do this. Your erection sequences and all that can be included there. Your tonnage reports, tracking completed work and updating to the fabrication model so you can communicate back with the fabricator as well. If you want to, you can also incorporate cranes into this. So we got a lot of things we can pull off with this 3D model. In 2011, we made it possible for the steel erectors to use this, and we made a special piece of software for them, and we call it our SDS2 site planning. So it's not the full-blown detailing that our detailers and fabricators are using. It's not our engineering station. It's strictly set up just for erectors. What it can do: crane capacity, reach and documentation, crane placement and pick point, logistics on site, including obstructions, site and lift planning documents, and modular lift planning. So it's going to take the guesswork out of what you're doing there. You can get that model from your fabricator. You can do it at the pre-planning stage, kind of lay it out, where I'm going to put my cranes, how many do I need, how many lifts. You can kind of get a game plan set up before. You can also take advantage of it while you're on site as well, and we'll cover that as well. This is from the Boldt company, and this is going to be based off a couple projects they did. The Consumers Energy Project was one of them. They teamed up with Merrill Iron and Steel and fabricated the steel for this project. So it was, again, a fabricator working with an erector in this case. What they did is they didn't even worry about the cranes in this when they were using our SDS2 erector station. They used it to create pre-assembly erection lists for pulling the steel from the laydown area. They created the erector sequencing and the work packages, and they reported all the status tracking, all the daily stuff back. So they weren't worried about cranes. They wanted to sit in a meeting before anybody showed up on site and figure out, where do we put the steel down, who's going to work on what, and where is everything when we show up, how does it need to go together. And they were able to do this by taking the fabrication model from Merrill and sit down and have meetings before anyone was even out on site. They're able to look at parts of the model, like all these pieces here to the left, and figure out, hey, we can either shop assemble these and ship them, or we can assemble them in the field and do a single lift. So it gave them that flexibility to jump in and take a look at some of those time-saving efforts there well before they would have been able to, or, you know, there's really no way to do that before having the access to the fabricator's 3D model. What it's going to create. This was what they called their erector for their work packages. They were able to get an Excel list of members to be erected, marks, weights, piece, all that was included. The bolt list, a 3D PDF for field use as well. So you can send that to a tablet, you could spin it around, everyone could take a look at it, and you can answer questions that way. I'm not going to read every single thing here, but this will be up there if you want to download, take a look at the recording. But it has been planned, you know, how it impacted Boldt's process, you know, how they use it to nail down their steel erection sequencing, to maximize out the early start of setting duct work, all the way down to how it directly tied into their P6 scheduling stuff. So they can keep everything on schedule, track it all the way through. Again, the benefits of using the fabricator's model. Unlimited benefits they've only begun to see was a nice one. We always like to hear that. They're able to provide the slideshows of the steel erection by sequence. Anytime there was a question, you know, they didn't have to go back to the fabricator. It could be answered right there in the field as well. So whether they just wanted to pull a weight on a member, they had access to it. They could hit a button and find out how much a certain beam weighs. They had a lot of different information at their fingertips while going through this. And again, the accurate piece counts, weights, bolts, and the ability to create lists. The line of communication, they couldn't believe how much they gained out of this. Just because all the breakdown went away. There was no misunderstanding. There was no, oh, I thought you meant this. It's like, no, they had the model. They could sit down in a room, fly through it, and look at all issues from different people with different responsibilities, could all get in the same room, see exactly what they were going to get, and make the best decisions. So their top tools for creating work packages, and this is what their experience was from using our SDS2 site planner. You know, our RFI creator is basically just creates a 3D PDF that can be emailed to anybody. They can open it up. They don't need any special software. Point-to-point reports. You can run on anything, find out, you know, what kind of field bolts, where they're going to be, per member, per end of member even, and you can get all that information there. We can create custom reports. We know everyone does things a little bit differently, so we created some custom reports for Boldt while they were going through this. And the ability to see how the fabricator sequences interact with each other, which when you're just looking at some erection seats, sometimes that's hard to find. Sometimes it's hard to see because you know you're not looking in 3D. You got to put the elevation plan together to kind of get a look at it. It was very easy for them to do this and cut down on lists because they could either assemble stuff on the ground or have it assembled in the shop and shipped that way. So they were able to communicate back and forth, saved a lot of time for them. Getting you know started with it, again, there's you know, got to get some training. It's different software. You know, it's just, you got to get used to, you know, getting on it, but we handle that very easily. Usually it's just online. We do it for a couple hours or an hour at a time, whatever works, follow-up phone calls and so forth. Sit down on the fabricator and review the sequencing and how the model's set up. If you have that ability to figure out, you know, shop sequences are different than erection sequences, and it just that's just the way it is. But if we can figure out what we're doing and why we're doing it, maybe we can have, you know exactly what you're going to have when it shows up on site. Barcoding. Fabricators, there's a handful out there, more than a handful. There's a lot of them out there that will apply barcodes. If that's something could be beneficial to you as an erector, where we have a computer, you know, a field computer out there where you scan it as it comes off the truck, you know it's there, we can put it in certain places. That can be all tied back into our model as well, where we can track things and assign barcodes and stuff like that. So there is information out there where people are scanning it. It goes on the truck, it's out in the field, they scan it again. That way you don't get the phone call of, hey, this never got on site, we're looking for it, we don't know where it's at. You know it ended up on site. It might just be, you know, some weeds might have grown up, we need to go find it again, but it is there on site. And then the point-to-point list. They're using it as a sign-off for every connection. It eliminated a lot of the extensive punch lists and rework that they were having to do. And again, this is honestly to create that point-to-point list in SDS2 is you hit two buttons and you hit, you know, it creates the report and you hit the print button or print, or if you want to send it to PDF, you do it that way as well. So it's not a lot of work. Once that information's in the model, there's a million different ways to extract it and use it for whatever you want to use it for. This was, again, you know, if we get into preliminary planning and bidding using the SDS2 site planning, so this is before you get a job, we can go ahead and we can bring in models from Revit, IFC files, XML files, other CIS2 formats. We can bring those in, and this is a case study of the way Baisden and Dean worked together on this. If I remember right, this came from a job that was created in Revit, and they brought this in, and a little bit about Baisden and how they partnered with Dean, and they did this back, 2015. They wanted a way to show that, you know, they saw something and it's like, hey, you know, the people we're bidding with this back to, they're not seeing this. We got to show them what's going on. They went through and they got the Revit model. They were able to go through and get that into our erector station, put the cranes in there, and they could see that with the capacities and reaches and things like that, it was not going to work with just what they had planned. So they came through here on this hospital project, and they had the tower cranes in there, but they found an area over here, if you see where that little truck crane is down towards the center, they found an area down there that we were going to have a problem with. they're able to prove that we needed that extra truck crane there for this walkway. And you can see some of the information that they were able to pull with the SDS2 erector station to figure out capacities, if it's good at the set or the pick point and so forth. And they were able to, show them, hey, you're going to need this other crane out here. And they actually won the job with their extreme knowledge of the project, going ahead and showing through. And then they were able to take that on and move forward and fabricate it and erect it. Next thing I want to talk about is from the fab shop to the field. So the next thing we have is our SDS2 load planning. And this is one thing that we get down to CNC machines and all this 3D modeling stuff. But when it comes to getting stuff on a truck, it's just kind of, there's a way to do it. Sometimes it's, hey, what's out here? Let's try to get the most weight on there. Let's just get this sequence out. We wanted to create a way where you can basically play Tetris with this. So you can take your steel that's fabricated, you can configure it on many different trailers, you can specify what kind of trailer you have, and it will do like center of gravity checks, things like that. But it also gives you a visual plan on how to load the truck. Now, as erectors, you guys aren't loading trucks, but you're unloading trucks. So the better that load can show up on site, I think it can save you some time, and I've got some examples of that here in a little bit. But this is our load planning software. It's fairly new, been around for about 2 years. And a lot of fabricators are really diving into this. It imports any IFC model, so you can bring it in from any software that creates an IFC file. And then you can kind of see some screenshots here of how the truckload looks in our software. And then we can also create an IFC out of that to pass along to anybody that's got a tablet. You can see on a tablet exactly what it's going to look like. It's not just about saving truckloads. It's about being safe. It's about getting all that stuff in and out where it's safe for the fabricator loading it, it's safe for the erector unloading it. And then also, you get down to the point in time, if you're erecting off the back of a truck, we can go ahead and stack these, and it just gives you that. It's going to be a lot quicker than having to do it the old way of going through and trying to figure out on a detail sheet what piece marks need to go where. You can actually see it here. You visibly see what it's going to look like when it rolls out the door. So that gets to what we were just talking about there, reducing the material handling in the field, giving your partners the best chance for success. And then here's the case study about it. So this one, Amfab Steel Specialties, they're down in New Mexico. 2 employees did all the loading and coordinating shipping from 5 different shops to 1 job site. So prior to using SDS2 load planning, they would have looked at the shop drawings and just tried to guess. Now they can visually see in the 3D, particularly with the more complex members. You've got, if anyone's worked on a side plate job or anything like that, you've got things hanging off. It's not as easy as just loading sticks on a truck. So they were able to go through and visually create these. Then the members came out of the fab and processing. Then they sorted by erection sequence, then by load number. So you can track it down to that level. So with those large jobs that have multiple contractors and require a great deal of coordination, this is a great way for those fabricators to build it up and get those loads out to you so you're good to go. This gets into the color code laning, staging loads using skids. If they've got a heavier, they're going to have maybe a higher capacity, crane in the fab shop to load the truck than you guys have out on site. They can stagger it that way. So they can actually go in and see, okay, let's just do 25K here. Then we'll double the tonnage, throw another 25K on top of it. That way those guys can take it off just as easy. They don't have to worry about breaking it apart out there in the field. So that leads me to the last part here, partner integrations. Who else we work with? Erection Bid Wizard. I think everyone that's ever been to Impact, they've hopefully met Vince. He's got a great product, great guy. This is something that you can take an SDS2 model out of and feed into his product. And it will give you all the erection costs and things like that. That stuff he's good at. We're not good at that. We just want to supply all the structural steel information from that model to him and let him do his job. Because that software, that's something that we really like. The barcoding on site, you got your P2 systems. Paul Park's down there, another great guy. Again, if you're looking to scan stuff as it comes off a truck, what you can do with that, he'd be the guy to talk with. He's got great ideas, a great product. Point cloud integration, site scanning. We're getting to that where we can bring scans into our model. We can base off any sort of retrofit or anything like that. You can go ahead and scan it, bring it into SDS2, and you can start adding your new steel to it. Your BIM coordination, CNC marking. we work with all the guys out there. You have to nowadays. If there's a CNC machine out there, we want to work with it because that helps our customers. If there's a BIM coordination, if there's anything like that where you want to need models passed back and forth, we want to be writing and reading to that format to just play our part. So that's a little bit on our partner integrations. All this we can do in the cloud as well. So if there's anything that we need to get up in the cloud, we've got offerings there where we can host all that stuff, where you can just dial in from anywhere, and basically you could run it on an Xbox or anything that has controls. It's neat to be able to take advantage of that. That is about all I have. I just wanted to leave you guys with, software does not create communication, but it can enhance it. So we always have to communicate, even with all the tools we have, but hopefully some of these tools will make it easier. And at the end of the day, get more information into your hands that's there so you guys can leverage it how you see fit.
Tyler, that was excellent. Your timing's perfect as usual. That's why we love you and SDS too, and have thus you've appeared at Impact many, many times. And again, if anybody wants to throw some questions on the screen, there's a Q&A box down at the bottom, at least on my screen, it's down at the bottom middle, where you can type in questions and we'll try and field them. You know, keep in mind that for everybody who's on here and the many people that have already registered, we just opened up registration yesterday for Impact in February at the Coronado Springs Hotel, February 14th through the 17th of next year in Orlando. We've already gotten over 100 people registered, so it's going to be an exciting event, and we've basically done a cut and paste from last year, so it's still going to be the impact of IT, and thus SDS2 perfectly integrates this, and I was pleased to see what other products you integrate with and your other partner contractors. We do a lot with Bluebeam, BIM, Vents, you know, BidWiz and things of that nature, and others. So as of right now, we might get an early quit because I don't see any questions unless people are frantically typing right now. But, you know, maybe you just answered all your questions. I see your emails there at tyler@sds2.com. And what we will do, since there's a first for everything, Tyler, and this is the first one where there are no questions. But maybe that's a good thing. But what we'll do is we'll supply for everybody listening, or viewing, I should say, you with their contact information through the registration list. And I'm sure you'll be more than happy to follow up with them. And with that, sir, I want to thank you sincerely. And I personally look forward to seeing you face-to-face in person in Orlando in a couple of months.
Yes.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
I spoke too soon. I do have one question.
Okay.
How does this program integrate with advanced steel?
Well, the only way we'd be able to do that is an IFC out of advanced steel. If you're looking to get with on the erector station or the truck loading, so they should be able to create an IFC file, and that's something we can work with.
Okay. Let's see, there's another one. What kind of license do you need to use SDS2 as an erector or fabricator?
We have, I guess, what kind of license? I mean, it's going to be a much cheaper price point than our SDS2 detailing software. It can be on a network where you can share it amongst many people, or it can be a standalone. So if you want to get into more details on that of what you're thinking, if I didn't answer your question, just shoot me an email. I'll be happy to get you numbers as well, if that's something you're interested in.
Cool. Again, you can see Tyler's email right there, tyler@sds2.com. And as it were, those are the questions. And again, thank you very much. We'll see everybody in Orlando, February 14th through the 17th at the Coronado Springs. Registration's open. Get on. It's tied directly into the hotel. You can do it all one-stop shopping. You can be registered and have a hotel in a matter of about 3 minutes. So again, thank you, Tyler, and we'll see you in a couple months.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Be well.